Welcome back, everybody. This is Spoiler It Was Murder, where we're talking about true crime cases at the moment from Canada. You're talking about those ones. I'm talking about ones from Australia. And spoiler, it was murder.
It was indeed.
This week, we're off to Canada again.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And you know, it's getting that time of year, guys. You got to feed your house hippo. It needs a bath. It needs to be fed. So get on top of that if you haven't already. So today, we're going back in time once again.
Okay.
To 1924.
Oh.
Picture it.
That is a long time ago.
Vancouver, 1924.
I'm picturing snow. I'm picturing
Yes.
horses and carts and snow.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. You've got it. So we're going to the wealthy neighborhood of Shaughnessy Heights. Behind ivory-covered gates and grand mansions, a young woman is found dead in a basement.
Ooh.
Yeah. The police say it's suicide, but when you look closer at the evidence, the blunders, the racism, and the cover-ups, it's clear that this is no ordinary case.
Ooh.
So this is the story of Janet Smith.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Yep. So Janet Kennedy Smith was born in Perth, Scotland in 1902. She was kind, lively, and people back home called her the Scottish Nightingale.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. At 19, she trained and earned her certificate as a nursemaid. She dreamed of finding work with a wealthy family, a job that might give her security and maybe the chance to travel. Her first posting was with Reverend McNaughton in Barnhill, Perth, where she worked alongside her sister Marianne, who was employed as a cook. But in January 1923, Janet got the opportunity of a lifetime. Doreen and Frederick Levere Baker, a wealthy Scottish-Canadian couple living in Kensington, hired her to care for their newborn baby. Frederick Baker wasn't just wealthy. He was a former RAF pilot, married into money, the son-in-law of General Alexander McCrae, a millionaire lumber baron from Ottawa.
Ooh.
A lumber magnate.
Is a baron, I was going to say, is a baron like a magnate?
I'm assuming so.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. When Baker's business took the family to Paris, Janice went with them. Later that year, in October of 1923, they decided to move back to Vancouver. They wanted Janet to come too, so they offered her a generous salary of $30 a month, about $150 today, $850 today,
Okay.
and a guaranteed return ticket to Scotland if she didn't like it. That's a good.
It's not a bad deal. Yeah.
That's a good deal. It was irresistible to Janet. She crossed the ocean for adventure.
As many do.
As they would. The Bakers settled in Vancouver's fashionable West End. Janet would take the baby out for strolls in nearby Stanley Park, and soon she was noticed by the city's bachelor community.
I'll bet she was.
She was young, pretty, and friendly. She was taken to the cinema, courted by admirers, and received chocolates and gifts.
Aw.
Janet enjoyed both flirtations and serious attention. She was living life, meeting people, finding her place in a new country, which is very hard to do. Very hard to do.
Yes.
And it's important to remember, Janet wasn't isolated, depressed, or hopeless. She was vibrant and social. Her diary showed a young woman full of life, longing, and romance. One entry read, "Heavenly night, immense room, immense moon, and no one nice to love me."
Right. And didn't I remember you saying earlier that they thought she committed suicide?
Yes. So,
Okay.
yes. So another one of her diary entries said, "I suppose I will always play with fire. I expect that's what the fortune teller meant when she said, I have the girdle of Venus."
Oh.
The girdle of Venus.
What is a girdle?
It's a...
Oh, like a thing that goes around you?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lady piece of attire.
Oh, is it one of those things that keeps everything,
Yeah.
you know, where you want it to?
Not where it necessarily is, but where you want it to go. So she was just full of life. And just 2 days before she died, she wrote to her mother in Scotland. She said, "I'm very happy. My only regret is that I'm a bit far away from home. But never mind, early next year, Mum, I shall have enough money for holiday. Just you and me, Mum. You'll love Canada."
It doesn't sound like somebody who's on the way out.
No. So Janet was making plans for the future. She was happy. She had no reason to suddenly end her life. Working alongside Janet in the Baker household was Wong Foon Sing. Wong lived in the servants' quarters of the house and was reportedly polite, quiet, and hardworking. According to later investigation, he spoke limited English. though enough to communicate with the people in the household. So the thing is, so he was in Canada at a time where Chinese immigration was severely restricted.
Okay.
So it was under the Canada's Chinese Immigration Act of 1923, also known as the Chinese Exclusion Act.
Wow.
So he came from Hong Kong and he was working in Vancouver and he was sending money home. So the morning of July 26th, 1924. So that Saturday morning, things seem ordinary. Wong was in the basement kitchen peeling potatoes. He heard what sounded like a car backfiring, so he went to go check. In the laundry room, he found Janet on the floor. A revolver was nearby, and Janet had a bullet wound to her head.
What happened, Janet?
The police were called, and this was where the first real disaster began.
Ooh.
Yep. Police Constable Green arrived. Instead of preserving the scene, he made mistake after mistake. First, he picked up the gun, just picked it up. Any fingerprints that might have been there, gone forever. Next, he looked at the scene. No blood or brain tissue on the walls, no powder burns on Janet's face, and evidence that the back of her skull had been hit with something blunt. And still, he said suicide.
Wow.
Yep.
I always get terribly confused when you see police or hear of police just picking up evidence right away,
Yeah.
or doing something like that right away. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're like, well, what's this fandangle thing?
They need to check something first, like take photos, do anything other than just pick it up.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
His theory was that Janet, while ironing the baby's clothes, suddenly decided to delete herself, or maybe picked up the revolver out of curiosity and shot herself by accident in the back of the head.
Oh my God.
By accident.
Yeah, of course.
But here's the kicker. The revolver wasn't even stored in the basement. It was hidden in a haversack in the attic. So for Green's version to be true, Janet would have had to stop ironing, go upstairs, somehow know where this hidden gun is, bring it back down, and then delete herself. And that doesn't sound remotely like something that would happen.
Right. Like she had to do all of that.
Right.
And it doesn't sound accidental either.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And yet it gets worse.
What?
Oh yeah, it gets worse. Green didn't even bother to look for the bullet. That was only found later, another piece of evidence mishandled. So despite every anomaly in front of him, Constable Green called it suicide. Then came the most disastrous move of all. The coroner ordered Janet's body embalmed immediately before an autopsy.
What?
Yep.
Before an autopsy? So hang on, with this bullet thing too, that means if it was found later on, was it found later on? Like where did it come from?
Yeah.
Could have just come from anywhere.
Yeah, could have been anything.
Oh my God.
Anywhere.
Okay.
Who knows? So my question is, and I don't know how things worked back then, but wouldn't they have to contact her mother and say, what would you like done?
What's going to happen with the body?
Yeah, because for a lot of people, religion, beliefs, whatever,
Yeah.
or just
And not doing an autopsy. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell?
she's so young, and
Yeah.
they're like,
No, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The undertaker was stunned. He said he had never been asked to embalm a victim of violent death before a post-mortem.
Wow.
First. While embalming, he noticed burns on Janet's right side, maybe from the hot iron falling near her, but because the case was being dismissed as accidental, those findings were never reported. After the embalming, Dr. Hunter examined the body. He noticed something crucial. There was no powder burns, no residue around the wound, which meant the gun had been fired from a distance.
Oh, right.
So unless she has go-go gadget arms, she's not doing it.
All seems like basic evidence, right? Like
Right.
it seems like basic investigation.
Yep.
Basic evidence, basic stuff.
Yep. So that alone made suicide impossible. And yet, at the hurried first inquest, the coroner ruled it an accidental, self-inflicted death. Newspapers added that, and I won't say what they said because it's highly racist.
Okay.
So the man from China was given the severest of examinations, and you can just imagine what they
Oh
called
my
him.
God. Yeah.
The real questions, did Janet even know the revolver existed? Did Wong know she was in the basement before he heard the shot? Were never asked.
What? Never asked.
Never. But Janet's friends in Vancouver's Scottish societies refused to let it drop. They wrote to newspapers back home in Scotland urging them to keep the case alive. So they're saying it's just, I feel it's just a hubbub. They're like, yeah, so she did it herself, but we're going to ask the cook, but then we're not going to ask him any questions. We're just going to make it look like we asked the cook.
Right.
And then we'll just...
It seems like they decided that this is the cause of death. And now we're just going to, everything we do is just going to fit that.
Yeah.
And it's a foregone conclusion before doing any investigating. Like there's no investigating here.
No. So, but the pressure worked from her friends and family in Scotland.
Okay.
So, a second inquest was held in August. This time it lasted 4 days. The verdict. We find that Janet K. Smith was willfully murdered, but by whom fired, we have no evidence to show. So they're saying she was shot now. It was murder. But who did it? So now they have to backtrack. Now they have to cover up all the things that they didn't do. They have to go back and try and recreate everything to try and figure out who exactly did it.
So not only do they have to cover up everything that they did or didn't do, the cops, they've also now got to actually try and investigate properly.
Yep. So because it was so long ago, like there's just not a lot of information on whatnot, but apparently the jury even criticized officials for twisting Janet's diary, saying it had defamed her pure and unsullied memory. So what they were trying to do was they were trying to make her look like a little bit of a floozy. And that quite possibly she, led someone on and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Just because she liked a bit of flirtation and had a girdle. Yeah.
The girdle of Venus, though.
Or the girdle of Venus. Yeah. I forgot. It's crucial. You've got to mention the Venus part.
Oh, my goodness. So it's official now. Janet has been murdered.
Okay.
But the city wanted someone to blame. Absolutely. If someone is murdered in your town, you can't just rock up and say, oh, yeah, the guy down the street was murdered. And you're like, by who? They're like, oh.
Yeah.
So this guy this gal is still on the run? This guy is it could be anybody?
But the key thing too is, of course you want someone to blame, but you want the actual person to be found. Because if they're not found, then they're still out there.
Right, exactly. You can't just pick anyone.
It's like, oh, they picked Bob, that's fine.
No one really liked him anyways.
He could take the fall, that's fine. But the real killer, Frank, is still out there. Like,
exactly. And this is where it comes down to, and a lot of these cases I'm finding that it's just they hone in on someone and like this ramshackle theory, and they can't see past their own face.
Or they're incompetent like this one. Wow. Like they don't really do any investigation from the outset. They screw it all up, and then they go, oh, okay, now we're going to try and just put it, pin it on someone, basically.
Yeah, we got to whoopsie doodle it back together again. So the city obviously wanted someone to blame. Attention turned to Wong. He was Chinese. He had been in the house. That was enough. That was all they needed. The Vancouver Star poured fuel on the fire with the racist headlines. I'm going to rephrase.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. But they did say, should the Chinese work with white girls?
Okay.
So that's pretty vulgar. So the editor, Victor Odlum, demanded laws to preserve white girls from the wiles of the low caste man.
I mean, it's so racist and so outrageous, but like these Muppets said in the beginning she did it to herself.
Right.
And now they're like, oh, now we've got to save all the white ladies from the Chinese people. What?
Yeah. What?
We all need saving from you, sir.
You're the problem.
You are the problem here.
Yep. So politicians jumped in too. MLA Mary Ellen Smith introduced the Janet Smith Bill, an attempt to ban white women and Asian men from working together in households. It failed, but it stoked the hysteria. Wong was now the perfect scapegoat. Detective Oscar Robinson had been shadowing Wong for days, studying his every move, who he met, where he went, and the rhythm of his life in Vancouver's Chinatown. By the evening of August 12, 1924, Robinson knew enough to strike. That night, Wong stepped off a streetcar at the busy corner of Cordova and Carrel Street, intending to meet two friends. As they spoke, a large black automobile pulled up to the curb. In a flash, two white men jumped out, grabbed Wong, and forced him into the back before
What?
he could even think to resist.
Oh.
Convinced he had been snatched by vigilantes bent on avenging Janet Smith's death, Wong feared he was about to be murdered. To his surprise, the car instead delivered him to Oscar Robinson's Canadian Detective Bureau on West Hastings Street. There, Robinson and his associates launched into a relentless interrogation.
Oh, gosh.
Wong insisted he had already told the police and the coroner's inquest everything he knew, but this denial fell on deaf ears. Robinson beat him through the night, demanding answers. Wong could not give. By morning, bruised and unbroken, Wong's story remained unchanged, and his captors had no choice but to let him go. Despite the relentless efforts of the Scottish societies to keep the story alive, the Janet Smith case had begun to fade from public attention. Then, a shocking twist reignited the headlines. In March of 1925, Wong Foon Sing suddenly vanished. Almost overnight, newspapers across Canada and as far away as Scotland seized on his disappearance as proof of guilt. Facts took a back seat to sensationalism.
Yet again.
Yep. Rather than reporting that Wong had simply gone missing, Scottish papers ran with inflammatory headlines like "Perth Girl Tragic Death, Chinese Servant Disappears."
Wow.
One article read, "A Chinese servant at the Vancouver house where Janet Smith was murdered had disappeared. It is believed that he had been smuggled away to China." The implication was clear and powerful to the public. Wong's disappearance wasn't a mystery, it was an admission. The truth, however, proved far more disturbing. Hang on to your girdle. On March 20th, 1925, a group of men disguised in KKK robes descended on Baker residence and seized Wong as he was bound, gagged, and blindfolded before being driven to a secluded house on West 25th Street. There, he was chained to the floor and subjected to 6 relentless weeks of torture.
Oh, my God.
Beaten
Poor guy.
and brutalized
Jeez.
in a desperate bid to force a confession or at least extract some new detail that might explain Janet's death.
Far out.
But Wong never wavered, despite the agony, and he refused to alter his story. Finally, after 6 weeks of torment, his captors abandoned him. Blindfolded, battered, and barely coherent, dumped on Marine Drive. The date was May 1st.
Holy crap.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yep.
Man, I mean, kudos to this guy. 6 weeks of torture and he didn't give it up.
Yep.
I mean, not that there was
Yeah,
anything
I was
to
going
give
to
up.
say, well, there's nothing to
No,
give
but
up.
like...
Some people would make things up.
Right, some
Yeah.
people would just agree after
Yeah.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly... What do you want? Yep,
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah, you're going to break my
But-
legs?
Yeah. 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
So, on that day of May 1st, when they dumped him, battered, disoriented, on Marine Drive, the police, tipped off by the kidnappers, were waiting. They arrested him for Janet's murder. So they held him for 6 weeks, got nothing out of him, and then decided to call the cops and say, "Hey, we got him, just arrest him." He didn't say anything, but just arrest him.
Yeah.
Rumors swirled that the police had known of Wong's imprisonment all along, yet chose to turn a blind eye, waiting for the tortured man to break. He never did. So after he was arrested for Janet's murder, Scottish newspapers ran the headline, "A man from China sent for trial." That's not what they said, but that's what we're going to change it to. Wong's trial in September of 1925 was a circus. The courtroom was packed. Women in the gallery brought lunches so they wouldn't lose their seats.
Ooh.
And before Wong could even testify, the prosecution demanded he take the chicken oath.
The chicken oath? What the hell's the chicken oath?
Thank you. I knew you were going to ask that because I asked the same thing.
The chicken oath?
Yep. So the Sunday Post described it like this. "It's a weird ceremony performed on a field outside the court and consisted of reading a statement printed on a yellow piece of paper, which translated into English means that provided he told the truth, he and his children and all descendants would enjoy prosperity and win the pleasures of heaven. If he did not, then might he die in the streets and might a similar fate befall his dear ones." The paper was then burned and Wong was handed a cleaver with which he cut off the head of a chicken to sanctify the oath. Now, this was a tradition that they did. Why give him the the respect of that,
Yeah.
but not any other respect in the way of
Well, and this is a guy that was just tortured for 6 weeks.
exactly.
Like,
So we're not gonna like. It's just weird that they did. It's almost like they.
and what
I don't
about
know.
and what about the chicken? Like, I mean, the
Well,
chicken didn't do anything.
Well, the chicken had no say.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. So
But that's just weird. Like, the whole thing is just very
yeah.
weird.
So like a Canadian court making a man killing chicken before testifying.
Were they just trying to make themselves look better
Maybe.
because of all the mistakes they've made and all the clear negligence and racism and all that, like making out as if they're, have done the right thing,
Maybe.
thing.
Yeah, that's a possibility. So in the witness box, Juan explained that the blood, so he had blood on his apron when
Yeah.
the cop showed up, right? So he explained that the blood on his apron came from lifting Janet's head when he found her. He denied harming her, denied advances, denied everything. Because then they started saying, well,
Yeah, he was trying to get it on with
fancied
her.
her
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah. So then came revelations. Janet had a sweetheart. She did. And you're not going to believe this. His name was Arthur Dawson from Roberts Creek.
Wait a minute. Are we sure it wasn't Dawson's?
It wasn't Pacey.
It wasn't. Okay.
Can you believe
about
that?
Joey?
You can't make it up.
You can't.
Oh, getting a new hairdo.
Yeah.
So her and Arthur Dawson from Roberts Creek had actually been planning to marry. She had never spoken of Wong as a threat, and she had never handled a gun. As Wong's trial dragged on, the truth became painfully obvious. There wasn't a shred of evidence linking him to Janet Smith's death. By October of 1925, the case collapsed and the charges were thrown out. But what came to
finally.
light next was even more shocking.
So Wong's free now. He's
Yes,
okay.
girdle tight.
Right.
3 of the men who kidnapped and tortured Wong were actually sentenced to prison.
Oh, really?
Yes, but many others, including Point Grey Police Chief John Murdoch, a former sergeant from the Glasgow City Police, walked free. The ones who were caught turned out to be a mix of local police officers, members of the Scottish Societies, and
gosh.
even a newspaper editor.
What?
These are the people who held him hostage, and let's not forget, in KKK outfits.
Oh my gosh.
Wong himself was able to point investigators to the very house where he had been held for 6 weeks. Inside, the floors still had holes where the chains had been fed through to hold him down. There was even an improvised scaffold, proof that his captors had hung him in a last-ditch attempt to force a confession. The revelation that Vancouver police officers had participated in his kidnapping and torture shook Canadian society. But despite the outrage, Wong never saw justice. Once released, he returned to China. The Chinese Council of Vancouver even offered $3,000 reward for information about Janet Smith's death. But the police made no serious effort to pursue new suspects. The investigation simply fizzled out. The case remains unsolved to this day.
Wow.
So, one of the most enduring theories is that Janet didn't die in the basement at all. Instead, she was killed during a party at the Barker residence the night before the body was discovered. Accounts described it as a drunken, drug-fueled gathering. In his 1984 book, Who Killed Janet Smith, author Edward Starkins recounted meeting an elderly woman who told him about a deathbed confession made by Jack Nichol, the son of the former lieutenant governor of British Columbia. Nichol allegedly admitted that he had been at the party on July 25th, 1924. According to the confession, he was caught in the bathroom with Janet by his jealous girlfriend. A fight broke out and Nichol struck Janet, knocking her head against a spigot. She instantly died.
That would explain the blunt force trauma at the back. Yeah.
Her body, he said, was redressed the next morning. It was staged to look like a suicide or accident using the baker's revolver. Nichol died soon after making that confession. He was never charged. The story only grew stranger over the years. A self-proclaimed clairvoyant later claimed she had been at the same party, both in person and bizarrely in her visions. And this wasn't as outrageous as it would sound in the 1920s, as it might sound now. Spiritualism was everywhere after the First World War, and even figures like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle were exploring it. In Scotland, Janet's father, Arthur Smith, told the Dundee Courier that he had received 3 vivid warnings in dreams in the days before her death.
Ominous.
Yeah, he claimed that he saw his daughter struggling, surrounded by shadowy figures, and that the visions were so powerful that they became etched in his mind.
Wow.
Frederick Baker, of course, denied everything. He twice sued Vancouver newspapers for suggesting his home had been used for drug trafficking or parties. But years later, records at Scotland Yard revealed Baker was, in fact, an international drug smuggler.
Oh my God.
Yep, at the time, and nobody knew.
Well, I guess he did a good job covering that up.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So what do we have? A young woman murdered, a police constable who destroyed the crime scene, a body embalmed before autopsy, a revolver hidden in the attic, not the basement, no powder burns, making suicide impossible, and the fact that it was absolutely so far away and so silly. Racism turning suspicion into scapegoating, politicians exploiting the tragedy, and Vancouver police colluding with vigilantes in KKK robes to torture an innocent man. And in the end, no one was ever convicted of killing Janet Smith. Her gravestone was paid for by the Scottish Societies, the same group that had pushed suspicion onto Wong. Today, her story is told in Vancouver's ghost tours, with whispers that Janet's spirit still haunts the tree-lined streets of Shaughnessy Heights. Janet Smith was just 22 when she crossed the ocean for adventure, for security, for her future. Instead, she was murdered in a Vancouver basement, and her death was buried under lies, racism, and corruption. Her killer was never found, but scandal that followed left one of the darkest stains on Canadian history, a chilling reminder of what happens when prejudice replaces justice and when the truth itself becomes the victim.
But they...
Unbelievable.
So no one was convicted, right?
No.
So we can't say, they did it. There's in these cops and everything. But, of course, it all makes sense. Like, if she did hit her head on that thing, you can just imagine it. They just go, oh, yeah, well, we're going to stage this scene. There's a perfect fall guy over there. Let's go put it over there. The constable's part of it. Like, he would have known the plan.
Yeah.
So, of course, he goes and ruins all the evidence, and it totally tracks. Like, it's one of those things where you just follow the bouncing ball, and you're like, well, yeah, well, all of that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what they're telling us makes no sense.
Right.
The evidence doesn't match their story.
You're absolutely right. As soon as you said, because I want to follow the bouncing ball backwards now. Because if everyone was in on it, and if everyone knew, that first incident where he said, oh, look at this fancy gun, and put his finger traps all over it. Yeah, because it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because they knew what they were going to do from the very beginning. And this poor guy didn't speak English all that well, just enough to get by. So,
well, that was a really good one. Thank you. Wow. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think she's still haunting the streets?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I hope she's part, as per the chicken ceremony, I hope she's haunting the families of the cops that were involved.
Yeah.
Yikes.
6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Like, that's unimaginably long.
But not only that, I didn't see anywhere anything where they even kind of tried to make it up to him.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you can just go back home. It's fine. It's whatever happened to you, you'll be fine. No, he won't. He lived
the whole torture thing though, I don't know exactly what they did, right? But obviously it's not good. It's called torture for a reason. But even stuff that doesn't involve any major physical injury, anything like that, even just torture being held in certain positions for even 5 minutes is absolute agony. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
6 weeks? Far out. That's crazy.
And didn't break. He never did a false confession.
Yeah, never said anything other than the truth, I guess. But yeah, you would expect,
I think I would.
5 minutes in. Yeah, what do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
I'll type it. I'll text it.
I'll interpret it, dance it. I'll do whatever you need.
Yeah, just stop doing that.
Just stop doing what you're doing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, that's the story of Janet Smith.
It was a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I guess that's it. We'll see everyone next time.